Sex may make your day, but anal will make your whole week.
Welcome to GayTalk 2.0, the ultimate podcast for your dose of dish.
Literally, I just got that. Sex will make, anal will make your whole week.
With an H, yeah.
With an H. Got it. Lord have mercy. Well, ladies and gents, welcome back to another episode of GayTalk 2.0, an LGBT podcast. We are streaming live on GayTalk20.com, where you can access the live stream every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, soon to be Mondays. And you can do so by visiting GayTalk20.com/live stream. My name is Tom, and your host, as always. We have a guest today, which is very interesting. So before I let my two crazies over here do their thing, it's worth noting that we have Kyle Turner joining us. He's the author of the Queer Film Guide, 100 Great Movies That Tell LGBTQIA+ Stories. And we're super excited to have him on the show. So that'll be on the second half. We're excited. And right now, I'm just going to have my other two bitches introduce themselves. So what's up, girl?
Hey, y'all. It's Nick or Trish.
And
J-Bear, a.k.a. your boyfriend's boyfriend.
And welcome you all to our today's dish. Wow, it's been a week. We did do a show last week, right?
Yes,
I just
we
don't
did.
remember. Things have been happening
Yeah, I've
so
got a
fast.
gun pointing at me now.
Oh, you're fine. You're
Yeah,
fine.
Just
It's-
before we went to the ballpark.
Yeah, they take me out to the ball game. Da, 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 da. All right, so why don't we start with that? We'll do a quick round table. What did Tommy do this past week? As we have spoken before on the show, I have said multiple times that my job has a lot of different affinity groups, and one of them is specific to Pride. And so they had Pride Night at the Yankee Stadium in New York, and we decided that we were going to buy a block of tickets as a group and sponsor individuals from our company who wanted to go and hang out and watch a game. And so we did that. And as part of that trip, you know, it was on a Thursday, so it was a school night. You get to go down, you know, sit there and catch a game, and you get a free hot dog and a water or a beer and a hat that had the Yankees logo in the colors of,
So it had to be a hot dog? Like you couldn't get a hamburger?
It was a hot dog, yeah.
That seems very phallic.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
It was purposeful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it met its purpose. We sat there and, you know.
Yeah, what if I wanted like Italian sausage?
Well, I don't know.
You could pay extra for that.
Exactly. So that was a
not
little fun
cheap.
excursion, and then Jay got to go because Jay and I, you know, we work for the same company, and we had a good time. We rode down all the way from West Haven to directly right to the stadium.
Yep.
It was a fun ride.
It was a nice train ride.
Yeah, I got me
I
some
haven't
liquor.
I haven't
and
been on a train in over 20 years. So.
God. So I got a new boss, and my boss went with me. I ended up getting her a ticket for her and her son.
She had to behave.
I did not
Somewhat.
behave at all. Not at all. I was so horrible the whole time. And but it was fun. It was fun. And one thing for all you baseball fans out there, if you go to the Giants Stadium and you are a smoker like me, shame I know, but
Yankee.
whatever.
Any stadium.
Yankee Stadium. What did I say?
Giants.
Giants. Oh,
That's football.
I'm talking about tight ends and wide receivers. I'm sorry. Sorry. I confused my sports. If you go to the Yankee Stadium, be advised that once you go in, you cannot leave and come back in. So if you're a smoker, you're fucked. So my new boss, myself, and another boss from one of the other areas in my job, we were like, oh my God, we're going to go smoke. We were literally trying to bribe security guards. Like, yo, dude, I'll give you $50 if you take me to your break lounge. Because I know you must got one. And I'm like, okay, I'll do you one better. I'll give you $100 if you take me to your break lounge. It's like, nobody smokes here. We're like, oh, fuck, this is crazy. And
So when you're a fiend, you do what you need to do.
mhm.
Girl, that's why I quit.
So So what ended up happening? What had happened was is that
an hour and a half later, I'm like, where the hell's Tommy?
we literally were on our way to give up,
No.
and we're walking towards the elevators to go upstairs. And, I said to myself, there's got to be a way. So you mean to tell me I can hang out outside all day? I don't need to be in the stadium. I don't even watch baseball like this. So I'm cool. And she looks at me. She goes like, now we should go back to our seats. And I'm like, all right. So on our way up, they're walking. And I grab my cell phone and I'm looking. And I go to tickets.com. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I can't go back in. I can't go out and come back in with the existing ticket, but what if I'm outside and I buy new tickets and then come back in? They were only $12. So I bought 3 tickets. I said, let's walk outside. And they're looking at me like, are you sure?
The mind of an addict.
They're not going to let us back in.
That's what I mean.
And so, yeah, I walked out. We bought 3 $12 tickets, which honestly, $12 tickets is cheaper than the $35 beer that you drink upstairs.
True.
So I wasn't mind because I literally 2 drinks, $37.50.
Yeah, the tickets are cheaper than the drink. They're
Yeah, it's insane.
That's how they get you.
yeah.
And so we ended up we smoked like 4 cigarettes each, and then we just walked back in. So yeah, that was interesting.
Proud of you.
Yeah. But we had a good time. We had a good time, and then
And
we
I
had
got
to
a
take the
gay
train.
Yankees hat, so that's all that matters.
You did. You did. I got one.
We told you we'd hook you up.
Yeah, we were gonna
I
get you
love
one.
it.
I
You
got
love it?
one. I
Have
got
you
one
worn
at
it?
home.
Oh, yeah.
It's super butch.
Yeah.
But I look cute.
Yeah,
look
he
cute.
does. He does. He took a picture of
Have
it.
you worn it to Starbucks yet?
You totally should. You might
So
late.
I went twice this week, and he wasn't there. Cannot.
Okay, something's not right.
I think he, left forever. I don't know.
Oh boy.
I think you're gonna need a new muse.
No.
Oh,
I love me some Tori.
Okay, well, we'll get it, girl. Just get it. So anyway, what did you do this past week, Trish?
I can't talk about it on the air.
Okay. Not a
No,
bad
it was a
thing.
good week. I had just a lot going on with work, and then, of course, I have a lot going on with the Pride Center, so literally my week was work and
A lot of busy work, basically.
yeah.
Yeah. Which is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's obviously it takes time to because you're the president of the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it takes time for you to come in and sort of kind of establish yourself and figure out, directions and things and how things are going to work out. And that takes time.
Yeah, and we had,
You got to find your cadence, your rhythm.
Yeah, and on top of all that, with everything that happened, I'm like, all right, well, I need this monthly, I need this weekly,
Right.
so that I can, review everything. And so it's been a lot, but it'll be fine. It'll be good. It'll be great.
Well, I'm excited, and I think it's a good thing that you're there. I think it's an
Join
amazing
aboard,
thing.
they said.
Yeah, it'll be fun. They said
You'll love it, they said.
It'll be great for your career, they said.
it won't really take much of your time. They said.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I know. Jay Bird,
Yes.
how are you?
Not bad. Decent week. Baseball game. Had a good time. Just not much really. It was kind of a low-key weekend. This weather's still kind of iffy, so you get up, you're not sure if it's gonna rain or
Right.
if it's not gonna rain or if it's gonna.
And it's finally hot.
Yeah,
Which is a good
It's
thing.
finally warming up, and I don't know, it's weird. Like by now I'd have the AC blasting at home, but it cools down enough at night that with just the window fan I sleep comfortably,
Yeah.
I guess. Which I still find weird for a
Yeah,
June.
I'm just like banking
I'm loving it,
so many kilowatt hours right now with my solar because I haven't been using it. Now my air conditioning is on because it was warm in the past 2 days. But yeah, it's been different.
Yeah, it's been different. I think I've been dealing more with the weather adjustments than anything
Right.
else.
Dude, my skin is going crazy.
Because of allergies.
Humidity, not humid. Like, it
Have
just
you broken out? Because I broke out.
Yeah. I broke. I
All
got
around my glasses. I had,
Yeah.
yeah.
on my chin, my arms.
How's your
I'm like,
butthole doing?
Oh,
It needs work. Right?
she's in the shop.
She's in the shop.
She's in the shop, in the shoppy shop. So,
Wait, can we take a moment? Like, what happened here?
Yeah, what's with that?
Like, what?
We'll talk about that later. I just want to quickly let you all know, because we are live and we are streaming and there's microphones around us. If you hear dogs barking,
oh yes,
it's not my dogs. My 2 dogs sit very silently on the other side of this wall here that you can't see in the studio while we're recording, and they know better. But I'm babysitting 2 puppies for my cousin who's traveling for the next 2 weeks. So they'll be with me for 2 weeks. And they are losing their shit upstairs right now because no one's paying them attention. So my apologies in advance. So yeah, that's going to be my life for the next 2 weeks. 4 dogs in the house. And then when Jackie comes over, that's 6. And then when Trish brings over Raleigh, that's 7.
I'm not going to be bringing her over anymore, really.
Oh.
Pat moves out this weekend.
Are you losing her into custody?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's losing Raleigh and the cat.
Thank God. I mean, no, not Raleigh, the cat.
The cat, yeah.
Oh.
I love Raleigh, but
you need to bring her over at least one more time before she goes away for.
Maybe when they're moving.
Okay.
I'll bring her over. But yeah, no, I'm excited about them moving out, but at the same time, like, it's a little weird.
Right. Not having to like worry about waking up and walking the dog or doing all these things that you're normally used to doing, or feeding or watering or.
Well, what I realized last night I was cooking dinner and Pat had left to go and bring his bed frame and a couple other things up to the new place. And it was so quiet and like there was nothing going on besides me cooking. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what it's going to be like. And I was like, this is great, but it's also
quiet.
It's
new and weird. Like,
silence.
Yeah, it's
Want to see something fun? Look at the camera. You can see a little like bubble of you on the bottom while we're talking, and you know it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Is that why I have this new Mevo?
I suppose. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Why doesn't Jay have a Mevo?
It's coming. It's in the mail. Hasn't gotten here yet.
All right. So you gave it to me because it contours?
Yeah, it just makes you look fabulous. The angle is just, because you're worried about too many things.
It looks like a gun.
It's okay.
Like literally, I wish people could see what this looks like.
And it got your gun.
I've got like a gun.
They probably can. I mean,
they can. They can't see it on
it's,
the.
Yeah, it's right in the video.
Oh yeah. See, literally.
And he got your gun. So. All right. So, yeah, we have a guest today. So, our dish is going to have to sort of kind of consist of whatever's left of the first half of the show, because we're going to dedicate the next half of the show to talk with Kyle, about his new, work. But, it was Pride in New York this weekend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it was a very successful Pride. A lot of people turned out. It was a really, really good time. I missed it. Unfortunately, I couldn't go because I was working at the bar. But overall, everything that I've been hearing so far has been very, very good about Pride, which is great given the temperature of how things are going with drag queens and with, book bannings and all this other stuff. So it was a very uneventful Pride in a good way, right? But one thing that happened over the course of the last weekend, which was reported in The Advocate not too long ago, is, all the things that historically have happened around this time of year when the Supreme Court typically ends their session, right? Because they always end their session the last weekend of June, which is why they get most of the decisions out around this time before they go on recess and they come back for the next session the following year. And one of those consequential decisions that were made back in 2015 was the invalidation of DOMA, right? Which legalized marriage equality in the United States of America in all 50 states. And one of the amazing things about that too is, that the plaintiffs that were, pivotal in making that happen. When you think about Obergefell, when you think about Windsor, these were individuals who fought and won, right? And this year, two of those individuals, Edie Windsor and Thea Spire, who were a couple, they were one of the plaintiffs that successfully invalidated or argued for the invalidation of DOMA in our Constitution. They were honored honored in a big way. So marriage equality pioneer Edie Windsor and her wife Thea Spire have been honored by having an intersection in New York's Greenwich Village named for them. So the intersection, of course, is 5th Avenue and Washington Square North, which was designated Edie Windsor and Thea Spire Way. And they held a ceremony on a Tuesday. Windsor and Spire lived at that corner for 43 years. The New York City Council had approved the honorary naming last year, and they decided to do that this time around. It's just, amazing to see that, a lot of the people, unfortunately, Edie is no longer with us, and neither is her wife. I think one of the only living survivors of those consequential, plaintiffs is the spouse of Obergefell, I think, right? Because his spouse unfortunately passed away as well.
Honestly, I don't know.
But it's a beautiful thing to see people who have been or have had such an impact on our community be honored in such a very big way.
Yeah, you know what I think? So this past weekend, what I didn't mention was I went to a Young Democrats panel at York Street, one of the oldest gay bars here in Connecticut. And they were talking about pride. They were talking about funding for education in the LGBTQ plus community and youth and all these amazing things that are really important, as well as people trying to hide things in bills at the end of session and get them passed.
Right.
And luckily we have now 4 members of the LGBTQ plus community at the state level that identify and say, fuck, no, that's not happening.
Right.
But what they brought up, which I found interesting, was they were talking about corporate pride and how all of these corporations or institutions start really focusing in and supporting the LGBTQ plus community during the month of June, which is great and which they should do, and we'll take it, of course. But really, at the end of the day, while we honor these people, like what you were just talking about, we should really be honoring pride all year long, right? Because it's not just we have 1 month and we celebrate pride. We are always out. We're always proud. We don't leave our gayness at the door. We continually have those hard conversations, and we continually educate people. And I think that if you're going to show up and want to support Pride Month, you should show up every month of the year and show me how you're going to show up.
Right. And I think it's important for organizations that are looking to incorporate, celebrating pride and supporting your community members in your organizations to foster environments and foster programming and events that span the entire year, not just the month of June. Yeah. Because I think it just keeps the message fresh in everyone's mind too.
Yeah, and not to be shameless, but at the end of the day, the state funds certain programs that are geared toward the LGBTQ plus community, both in schools and privately, whether it's a community center or not. But you can't think, all right, I'm going to cut you a check for $100,000 and you'll be fine, and then do all the amazing work that you do. There needs to be a bigger investment both at the corporate level and both at the state level.
Oh, of course.
And hopefully federal level, in both community centers and education, because that's the first thing that gets cut. You know what I mean? This one person was telling a story about, I think he had, I can't remember how many thousands of kids that he was the counselor for, in his district, right? And they cut funding, so he was the only person that was there to help these kids if they needed, direction for, mental health or whatever it is. And obviously he's a gay man, and he works a lot with the LGBTQ community and the education system. But at the same time, you're cutting this funding and you're cutting these positions, but what about the kids? You keep trying to blame everything on, let's ban this book, let's burn this book, let's cut this program because it's not good for kids.
Ban drag queens.
The first thing you fucking do is cut funding for schools in education that affects the same kids that you're using as a fucking excuse to ban books and ban education and cut funding and blame drag queens. It's bullshit. It's like it's such bullshit.
It's really hard to fathom, right? When they do things like this, another thing that I always say, for example, I'll go back to corporate America, right? Oh, you want to celebrate Pride? You want to, put up a rainbow flag and show face and, bring pretty rainbow cupcakes. We love rainbow cupcakes, no offense to the rainbow cupcakes. But if you want to make significant changes in your workforce, make sure that you incorporate gender affirming policies in the workforce. Make sure that your, for example, your policies and procedures reflect your commitment to our community. Make sure that if you have, for example, a yearly, what's that thing that we do every year?
Physical?
No. Annual meeting?
No, we have a course that we have to take every year.
The
harassment course?
Like sexual harassment. The other one, I can't remember.
Discrimination?
Diversity and inclusion training?
No, that we have.
Yep.
I'm talking about, oh God.
Well,
anyway, what I was trying to say was that if you are going to, start celebrating Pride and showing your workforce that you want to be an inclusive company, you have to put your foot where your mouth is, and you have
put your money where your mouth is,
and your foot too. Make sure it's clean.
No, put your foot in your mouth if you're gonna say something stupid. Put your money
where your mouth is if you're gonna, pump out the cash. One of the things that you should do is start looking internally with your partners who are you doing business with, right? For example, if you're doing business and you're providing insurance to your employees with an insurance company who does not support, for example, gender affirming care, or that are not considering maybe providing Truvada for free for members of the community who would like to have that benefit. These are things that you can do tangibly as a corporation to negotiate the next time you have a contract coming up for insurance, to ensure that you're supporting your members who happen to be part of the community, that you have organizations that look for example, a network of doctors that support specifically LGBTQ plus people, right? These are all things that you can do as a company because you have the leverage when you're shopping for insurance to ensure that your insurance companies and partners are supporting these initiatives, that it's part of a basic package, as opposed to, not finding out, that you want to go through.
Are we talking about enrollment?
Everything.
No, medical enrollment that you were looking for?
No, it's
okay.
No, it's still
gotcha. Never mind.
It can't get in.
Yeah.
There's so many things that companies can do like this that make significant changes.
Yeah,
right?
and you have to think too, outside of just the employee, but the employee's circle and their family, because a lot of companies, they're providing insurance for an individual, but also their family. And there are a lot of families that are currently in situation where they need gender affirming care, where they have a, gay son who may want Truvada, because now kids are on insurance until 25.
Right.
So,
or you might have a couple who are legally married that are looking to adopt, look for opportunities to be able to include as part of your insurance package, or your benefits, the fact that you would support, for example, in vitro fertilization, or surrogacy, right?
Well, I do have to say one thing though. I think your company is doing it right. I think obviously
we have a lot of work to do.
There's always room for improvement,
right.
But you fly the pride flag for the month of June, which is wonderful, but it doesn't end there. Internally, you're doing the work.
Right.
And that's what matters. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be doing the work.
Right. And empower your employees, those actual members of the community, to step up and be a part of that process, which is one of the things that, it was beautiful in a way, the way it was done. But, I'll tell you a little story, and I'm not going to mention any names. Obviously, I want to protect their anonymity. And but I have coworkers who unfortunately, moved from Spain because that part of our company doesn't support surrogacy, but the company here in the U.S. does. And so they moved here. They came here and worked for this part or this side of the company just so that they could have their children. And they have 2 beautiful daughters. They're amazing. It really makes me happy that, this was possible for them, that they were able to start a family because of some of the programs and support that we have currently in place. So if you're a company and you're looking to make significant changes for all of your members, not just members of our community, but, every single member, just really think about negotiating with partners that you do business with in a very, very transparent and inclusive way.
The last thing I'll say about all this stuff.
Yes, because we have to go to break.
I know we have to go to break. One of the Democratic gay representatives that was at this panel said, just because somebody is marked as a Democrat on a ballot does not mean you should be voting for them. And he said that specifically because he has been seeing more and more Democrats with this anti-gay rhetoric. So do your research and make sure you know who you're voting for.
Right. Agreed. 100%. All right. Well, let's stick a pin in this conversation. We can come back at it after our break and after our guest tonight. And so we're going to take a quick break and we will be back shortly. All right. Well, ladies and gents, we are back from the break. Let me try that again. Ladies and gents, we are back from the break. And for once, it wasn't the intern. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Unfortunately, our guest is not going to be here today. We'd had some issues with scheduling, so we're going to figure out how we're going to work that out and reschedule our guest and get them back on the show. And we just realized he's probably in Connecticut, so he could probably just come to the studio.
I know.
Who knows? But anyway, so we're just going to pivot and give you a little bit more dish and then figure out what we're going to do from there.
Sorry.
So it's okay.
You're stuck with us.
Yeah, that's it. We're stuck with him. But anyway, so Trish, I do see that you had a story in the notes. So why don't we talk about that and then we can pivot and move on to other things? Or did you want to go and sort of kind of, go back to what we were talking about before? Or did we beat the horse dead? Sorry, Peter.
I was just going to say that the episode from This Queer Book Saved My Life.
Oh, okay. Yes, let's talk about that.
It broke record.
It broke a record. People actually wanted to listen to you.
I know. In the first day, it broke the most downloads since they started the show.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I will tell you that JP Debergosian, oh God, it's a tongue twister, but such a sweet guy. And then his husband and producer partner James Pound. Oh my God, they're such a great team and they do great work. If you haven't listened to their podcast, This Queer Book Saved My Life, go on your favorite platform. I think they are on Spotify, and they're also on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. And listen to these episodes. I mean, you're talking about quality storytelling of individuals who have an opportunity to thank the authors who've actually written or produced the work that changed their life for the better. And what better way of being able to, come full circle on things than to be able to interview and sit there and have a conversation with the person that wrote that work.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about it, can you talk a little bit about your experience with that? Like, how was that for you? How cathartic? Because you knew the person that wrote this play.
Yeah, I knew him.
Right.
We had met, but we weren't. It's not like we really got to know one another.
Right. So while you were, because you guys met when you were in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so because you were doing your internship down there, is that what was it that you were doing?
Yeah, it was my internship. It was during that year, yeah.
So you go down there, you met this person briefly, you didn't connect.
100%.
100%, right? And this person ends up writing a screenplay that you had an opportunity to see, and they probably never knew that this particular play impacted your life so profoundly until you had an opportunity to talk about it with him on their show.
Yeah.
How was that like for you?
It it was good. It was interesting. What I took away from it was more like this individual who wrote this play, you know, and he said during the podcast that, you know, you spend all this time writing this play or writing this book, and then, you know, it may never be produced. Most of his work hasn't been produced.
Right.
But then when it does, like, you don't really know what the reaction is going to be, or, you know, if it will have a life after its first production. And
Right.
and I think having that conversation with him just solidified for me that, like, it's like an affirmation, like, this was important work.
Yes, it was.
And, like, I think he felt that in the conversation, and I think that's what was important to me. That's what I took away. Like,
right. I hope that, you know, he felt it. I mean, think about it. When was the last time? When did you leave Louisville?
oh God, how old am I?
I don't know. Decades? Are we talking about maybe 10, 15 years?
It's been
84.
I think it's
It's
been
been-
12,
right.
12 years,
So,
12, 13
so
years.
put that into perspective. Think about that. It literally has been over a decade that this person was running through the world without knowing that his work, something he created, impacted another human being in the way that it did.
And you know what's funny too?
Yeah.
Do you know one of the characters in the play at Louisville? We still talk every once in a while, but it was this guy Corey who played the Riddler in the Batman series.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm glad you had an opportunity to first of all affirm to someone that, you know, all of our creative works are always important. There's always someone that gets touched or moved by the work that you do. And so, you know, try to, if you can, at some point in time, make it a point to let those that have changed your life know, because it might change their life in ways that you don't even know. Because for all you know, that episode, that podcast could have been the push that he needed to, because he might have been defeated.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too, because like the show is edited unlike ours, but like
Right.
there was a moment when we were beginning where he's like, you know, I don't really remember meeting you because we met so briefly at like a meet and greet.
Right.
And I was like, completely understandable and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is, from that moment on, when I went to Long Wharf from Massachusetts, I kept saying to everybody, I was like, we need to produce this play. We need to produce this play. They never did, but like it was always on the list.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, it's important. It's impactful. And I think, like, you know, maybe one day I'll produce it somewhere.
Right. So if you have something that has changed your life and
Tom, Jay.
No,
make sure that
you're
you
good.
tell them. Too bad I can't say the same for you.
Oh, I changed your life, all right.
Oh, she did.
You have to also remember in the world of the arts, there have been many plays that have been written and sit for years before
They're produced.
all of a sudden they're produced and they're a hit. So
Right.
I think a lot of times, I mean, it's nice that you were able to experience that. I know his mic stand is.
I can't see
It's
Jay's
nice
face.
that he was
I'm
able to
so
produce
sorry.
that, and you were able to experience
They
it.
want to have a moment.
And I'm sure you're not the only person that experienced it, but you know, you also got to remember that sometimes, you know, stuff like that, especially certain works that people write, take years before people actually pick up on it. It's the sad truth. You know?
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, it's like
especially in theater. How
but
many?
It's not just theater. I
Yeah.
mean, like, you look at certain, you know, artists
Artists,
like that die before they become famous.
Oh my God, for me, that was Eva Cassidy. If you've never heard her, listen to her music.
No, well, I was talking about painters, but yes.
But you said music,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You mentioned music. Eva Cassidy was a singer. Honestly, one of the best voices I've ever heard in my life. She died very young of an illness, but the work that she left behind has, oh my God, changed me forever. She's got a version of Sting's Field of Gold. Oh my God, it's amazing. She does a version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which is, I mean, the hair. on your body just stands up. It's insane. Give her a listen. She's amazing. She's beautiful. And she's gone.
Yeah, but I mean, that's, and that was basically what I was getting to. A lot of times you don't see stuff until years after it's been produced, which is kind of shame. It's a shame because, like you said, it's been like a thing you've been pushing for. You can still do it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think you're in a better position now to make those suggestions as well. So
Yeah, probably, but I'll have to ask for more money.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen.
Which you can get. We've seen you work.
Oh, girl, we've seen you work. She can, honey. She can sell water to a dry lake.
That's basically what I do.
Yeah, pretty much.
That doesn't make sense. Sell water to a dry lake. That would be an easy
a broke dry lake with no money. Like, I'll give you.
Just sell water to an ocean front.
I'll sell. Yeah, pretty. Yeah. You can sell salt water to a lake. That's more. Yeah. Kill me, but I'll take it anyway. Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
I sell nothing.
I sell nothing.
No, I do. I sell something very important, but
image.
Yeah. No, image, arts, community. It all comes full circle, so it's important. All right. So before I let Trish jump into her story here, I have sad news for all of you Madonna fans out there who got tickets for her tour. Madonna came down with a serious bacterial infection, evidently, and as a result of that, she had to cancel a lot of her shows. So if you have tickets, I'm so sorry, but Madam X or Madam M or whatever it is that they call her, she's down for the count and she won't be able to do those shows. So look for either rescheduling or you might want to just start asking for your money back because you're not gonna see her. She's down for a little bit. I mean, she's up there. She's for someone who's up there in her age. She looks fantastic. I mean, she was a little swollen the last time we saw her on TV, but that's a different story. But she keeps active.
I gotta ice my face every day. I get it.
So did Mommy Dearest. I mean, Faye Dunaway killed it. Playing.
I'm gonna just put an ice bath outside my front door.
But wait a minute. So you remember the movie Mommy Dearest, right? Let's talk about this for a minute. This bitch had a fridge in her bathroom, a freezer, and she pulled a bucket, like a little bowl of ice, and she threw it in the sink, and she used to wash her face with ice in the morning. Why aren't you at that level, girl?
I mean, maybe I could.
She'll be able to do it now.
I could.
Joan, you need to Joan Crawford that shit. Like, your apartment's about to get redone. Tell them to put a fucking freezer in your bathroom.
Freezer.
Right under the counter so you can put your little ice in there and then you can just every morning just smack your face right into it.
I just need to marry up and I get one of those
cryogenic chambers.
Yes.
The whole
wake
body
up every morning and I just stumble into it and I come out and I'm like, 25 years ago.
Oh. That's what I was missing, huh? Yeah, no, but it's cool. So so if you got tickets for Madam X, sorry. Good luck next time. So, but we wish her well. Nothing against me.
I think the article mentioned something about an ICU visit, so it's pretty serious.
Listen, a bacterial infection is nothing to fuck with.
Yeah.
Your body can go into what do they call that? Sepsis? Sepsis?
Septic shock.
Yeah. So, just be careful. Stop putting things in your mouth. All you men out there sucking all those dirty dicks.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, but if it does smell a little bit, there is shower beforehand.
Wash it.
PSA. They may be cute, but if it's got a little stank, throw it in the shower.
Definitely throw it in the shower. All right, what do you got teed up for us? Go.
All right, so another thing I did this weekend and this past week was I started a new show on Netflix called Glamorous.
Yes. Okay.
I've seen the previews for it. I haven't watched it yet.
It's pretty campy.
Yeah.
But it's, I enjoyed it. But basically, Miss Benny, who plays Marco, is a up-and-coming makeup artist that's on YouTube, right? And then was offered a job by, the Anna Wintour of makeup artists. And so she starts working at this big company, and it's, the whole trajectory of her career and her family and all the gay people that work there and what they go through. And they launch a whole like campaign around Pride, which is amazing. But this individual is a transgender male, which is amazing to see. Not only she portrays kind of a feminine gay man on the show, but like having representation from our community actually in the show, being the actor and not a straight actor playing this role.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. And then she opened up about her experience coming out as a trans woman, not trans man. And it's just it was a really touching story.
Well, I think that, the story overall, it just gives them an opportunity. Anyone really, they can really just, watch something like this and say, this is heartwarming. This gives me all the feel goods. And also big up to Netflix, because Netflix has been killing it when it comes to producing content that is inclusive, that is unapologetically gay,
unapologetically
gay, unapologetically black, unapologetically Latino, and trans and everything. And they're really just going out of their way to make sure that, they're elevating black people, brown people, gay people, trans people. They're killing it right now with a lot of the stuff that they have going on. So it's super cool.
The new Heartstopper is coming out this month.
Yes, it is. I can't wait. We talked about that in a previous episode.
Yep. Red, white, and royal blue is coming out on my birthday.
Oh my god!
So I'm super excited about that.
Okay, so we'll have to. Maybe I'll get a projection screen and
viewing party. Hello.
Viewing party outside.
Yeah, totally.
In the stars.
I can't wait.
It'll probably rain.
Most likely.
It'll pour.
Yeah.
We'll look like red sewer rats from New York City. Weren't we listening to Let's Have a Kiki outside? We were playing music outside. Were we not
this
dancing?
Weekend.
We were kikiing out on the patio.
Oh, you
We were like, let's have a kiki, and then lock the doors. We were like, pop,
tight. No, but it's just great to see, actors coming out and being honest about who they are. And sharing their stories, so that, when you have a platform, use your platform. And when we see people like this doing that, it's great, especially in this political climate right now. So, yeah.
Oh, and you get to see Henry Cavill in The Witcher. Season 3, I think. Season 2.
Season 3.
That's not necessarily gay, but it's gonna be nice.
Hello, staring at Henry Cavill is just gay on its own level.
There is one relationship in the show that we should talk about.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay, so Marco, Miss Benny, meets somebody at the gym, I believe. And they start.
I thought we were talking about The Witcher. We're going back to the show. Okay, gotcha.
You're all over the place.
Back on topic.
Yes.
No, so
back to glamour.
Meets this what seems like a great guy, and literally looking at their story throughout the show, really he isn't a bad guy, but has a hard time enjoying their presence in public because of how they present themselves. And I think it took a while for the character Marco to realize that that's what was going on. But I think it's important to note that, like, if you're with somebody that is ashamed of you, or that is afraid to like take you out in public because of
who you are,
or how you present, that they're not the right person for you.
Right.
And I think the arc in this show really showed that, that's it. It showed it in a healthy way, but right. I think a lot of people still will stay with somebody because they've
experienced it.
Right.
Well, it's kind of hard to, once you've invested emotionally in any relationship, when you see signs like that, they're not hard to ignore, but they're hard to walk away from, right? Because you there's an innate feeling in as humans to want to get someone to understand, right? I'm gonna make you see the light, right? I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna be your champion. I'm gonna be, the person who's gonna really show you that who I am, there's nothing wrong with me. And the need to do that as humans, we all have it. We all do it. Sometimes doesn't allow us to see, that the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
And
I mean, even today, I mean, we talk about the fact that, like, when we were walking down the street, we clock things. Like, do we have to, like, adjust our mannerisms? Do we have to adjust the fact that I'm holding somebody's hand or whatnot? But, like, if you're in a relationship with somebody, no matter the circumstance, you should feel supported and seen.
Right.
And not afraid to present yourself the way you are, no matter what situation you're in.
Right. It's just unfortunate that in today's society and in today's, climate, when it comes to some of the things that are happening politically, those are things that unfortunately you have to think about, where you stand, how you stand, who you're with, what you're doing with the person that you're with,
Yeah, and I feel like the trans community specifically faces this constantly.
Every single day.
They're looking for a partner, and that partner doesn't want to share
in their space, in their world, and be public, right?
Yeah.
It's all got to be
both their partner's world and their world. So it's like
it's a double whammy.
Yeah, and I think you also got to think about. I know the show is portraying, it's what actually happens, which is one thing that I appreciate about that, that concept. It's kind of bringing you stuff that actually happens to people, and this is a soft way of showing it, because a lot of times it's not that nice the way it occurs. You know what I mean? And and people are, when people say I'm scarred and this may trigger you, it's because their experience, which may have been much more worse when it actually occurred to them. So
the sad truth is, you're not wrong, and it actually depicts the fact that within our community there is discrimination, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, but the truth is, like, gay men are kind of at the top when you look at the socially, because we get the most visibility and most acceptance. And then as you walk down the ladder, bi representation isn't even really a thing unless you're reading a book.
Yeah.
Right.
Lesbians, they are subpar to some of the representation that gay men see on film and in TV. And then when it comes to the trans community, that's under attack.
Right.
Like, you put a show out there and it just gets slammed.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but we do have to say, while the trans community has been going through a lot of shit, left and right, they're being attacked from government. Policies are being, enacted to attack the right to exist. You have to think about some of the groundbreaking work that we've seen in the past, 6-7 years. Think of Pose. Think of, MJ Rodriguez and her, ability to transcend in different variety of roles. And she's doing super well right now. To see shows like this, right? Thanks to networks like Netflix, who are just bringing,
this amazing content
right in your face, front and center. So it's super cool to see happening. And while there is still a lot of work to do, I'm proud of the fact that we have come a very, very long way when it comes to seeing trans actors, especially.
I agree, but I also think it's important to note that, like, the LGBTQ plus movement is one of the youngest rights movements in the nation.
Of course, one of the fastest growing, one of the youngest, but also one of the most productive in history.
100%. But when things happen quickly, there can be a lot of backlash.
Right.
And so while we're seeing these, politicians and, groups of people that are coming for the trans community, coming for the gay community in general, it's kind of to be expected, and we have to weather the storm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a fad for them because they have no political platform right now. And so they're saying, okay, well, let's go attack the gay people and blame them for, child molestation and pornography and exposing our children to this and children to that. And really and honestly, they have nothing.
So remember when I told you that the Pride Parade or Pride Festival was canceled in my parents' town in Florida, Port St. Lucie?
Yeah.
I found out why.
Why?
So it was canceled because families with children were allowed to come.
That's why it was canceled.
It was canceled because children
We're being allowed to participate in.
Yeah. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier.
Right.
You're going to pigeonhole children and want to
use them as scapegoats for your...
And this is what I've noticed too. A lot of the stuff that's also happening, especially within the school system, is from this group that's parents for the rights of children, or I'm not sure 100% what. However, right, it's these so-called parents that are trying to put these laws and bylaws into place while disregarding parents of LGBT. So you're telling me a specific group of parents can decide for every parent, which I think is bullshit.
Right.
So we know where it's coming from. We see their standpoint. That it's just BS. But you can't tell me that, a specific group of parents, all right, is stating that, trans kids are being damaged by their parents. And we can't allow these books in the school because it affects my child. Well, it might affect your child, but it doesn't affect everybody else's child. And you have the option you have the option of letting your child know you don't have to participate or read this book. But you shouldn't make the choice for every fucking parent.
I agree with you 100%. I think the biggest problem right now is that the right-wing news is brainwashing parents, like to the extent where I have family members who are super supportive of me that are like, I would never bring my child to a drag book reading whatever it is. And I'm like, why? Because you wouldn't have said that 6 months ago before this whole fucking shit started.
Right. It wouldn't even been a thing.
Well, they'll drop them off to Sunday school and leave them there unattended for 8 hours.
Exactly. Like, when I came out as gay, my mom, one of her questions to me was, did Father Blank touch you? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
So, I mean, and that's a great fucking point right there. Absolutely great point. Why, if you feel safe within this community, would you go to that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, but here's the
drag
thing.
queen or trans individual is going to touch a child inappropriately. One, in general, I can't say that completely because some people are.
I mean,
but two, in front of their fucking parents.
The question
That's
becomes,
why you're there, to supervise your child.
The question becomes, how many drag queens, how many trans women or men or trans people or not people who are non-binary have ever been arrested for child molestation versus how many priests do we have proof of that have molested children in church? Mm-hmm. Your children are safer at a fucking drag show than they are in the fucking pulpit. Yeah. I'm just letting you know.
And in schools, honestly.
Yeah. Case in point, To Catch a Predator. Why was the show canceled?
I don't know that show.
To Catch a Predator?
Yeah, why was it canceled?
Because they caught a state senator from Texas trying to hook up with a child. What happens when they would ambush the predator and show up with all the cameras? The guy killed himself. So they canceled the show. Although this person was meeting up with a 12-year-old child for sex.
That's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
But that, that's exactly what I'm talking. They cover shit up. You can't cover the sun with your hands and
They're
say it's shady.
They're scapegoating an entire community.
They're scapegoating an entire community.
Right.
They're pushing the blame from where it needs to be actually pointed to the people that have the least issue, the least to be associated with it.
And I think that there are two reasons why it's happening. One, because they're using, the LGBTQ plus, mainly trans drag community to cover up shit that they're trying to push through.
They have no policy. They have nothing. So they need to focus their hate and their energy on something that will drive their minions and their correctly identified basket of deplorables.
Yep.
Thank you, Miss Clinton. To motivate them, to bring them out.
But it's I'm talking about pushing through policy that we're so focused on drag queens. And then they push through something that's really going to affect us.
Absolutely.
And then two, because right now the temperature, because of, Donald Trump and the Trumpers, is so elevated and so radical that people they know that they can capitalize on this energy and on this moment. So they're using this group of people to capitalize on that energy so that they could push through shit that they want to push through.
Absolutely.
Without us notice.
But if they had any validity to the shit they're spewing, I would say there's some validity, but they're just making shit up.
100%.
I would say 1,000% on this one. I mean, these motherfuckers make shit up all the fucking time.
Think where this is coming from. Most of this started in Florida, right, with Ron DeSantis. Trying to push all of these, drag bans, etc. And interestingly enough, on the 23rd of June or something like that, a judge actually temporarily blocked Florida's law, widely seen as an attack on the drag community, which was, I believe, the second loss in court for Governor Ron D.
To Sanctimonium.
It's the 28th. We can't say his name yet.
Yeah,
We promise we wouldn't.
Trump Light.
Trump Light. There you go. And this coming after another judge struck down a state ban for Medicaid coverage on gender affirming care. U.S. District Court Judge Gregory Presnell ruled against the drag ban after owners of a restaurant, Hamburger Mary's, sued the state. The restaurant, which has locations around Florida, said the law regarding live entertainment threatened a weekly event featuring drag queens. Purnell issued an injunction barring the state from enforcing the law while the court case proceeds and goes through the court. So, I think the lesson that we need to take here is that, drag performers are constitutionally protected by the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, being able to perform. It's not a cabaret show. It's nothing sexual about it. It's just, I see a lot of women wear a lot of worse clothes out in public than most drag queens who are literally wrapped like a fucking burrito.
In public, how about? Let me not talk about the workplace.
So the thing is, it's like, while they're pushing all these bans, in the end, like Nick said, we are a very driven community. We are driven in the sense that we want to fight for our rights. We want to be. We're very polarized, and we're quick to react and quick to come out in numbers to make change. What we need to realize here, that all these drag bans are eventually going to be invalidated because they're unconstitutional, right? It's already happened in Tennessee. You're seeing, federal judges in various levels of different benches go through the process of invalidating certain laws that are being enacted by states, even red states. So while we're going through it right now, and we're in the trenches, and we're being, targeted, and we feel attacked, it's a slow train.
It's just a little scary because
it's nasty, is what it is.
Like I was saying earlier, and Representative Curry said at this thing, it's like, just because there's a D next to their name doesn't mean you should vote for them.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like the fact that rhetoric is starting to seep into, what we would consider the liberal party. It's just nerve-wracking.
Right.
But
just because you're a liberal doesn't mean that you could be, for example, you could be a liberal person and still be racist.
100%, yeah.
You can still be a liberal person and still be anti-gay. 1,000%.
100%.
How many times Nick says that?
What was that?
The counter.
What was it that we used to do? Tally it up, right?
Tally it up.
But
But here's the thing. Tally it up.
But no, I mean, like, it just makes me crazy because I think, like, okay, last thing I'm going to say is, like, we talk about these drag bands and all this stuff, and everybody's talking about drag and trans and all this shit. But nobody's talking about the fact that the Nazis are growing like fucking crazy. Like, there are so many more members. They're far more visible than ever. Can we just take a step back and realize how many fucking people the Nazi party killed in Germany? Like, and just on the front lines in general? Like, right. But that's okay. But that's okay. That's okay to our government.
America.
But if you want to read a book in a dress with a pretty face, that is
or
a fucking
book
problem.
that's, you know, written by a queer black person, that's a fucking problem.
Or a book that points out the injustices to the African American people and the people of color.
Oh. Critical race theory.
We don't
that's
want to hear that. We don't want to learn that.
That's not American history. Yes, it is, motherfucker.
Please don't throw the truth in my face. It hurts.
You know what kind of bugs me about that? Because I remember going to school and studying history and how they discuss slavery and how, you know, all this stuff would happen with slaves and Christopher Columbus, and it was taught for years.
And they always try to make it look like a feel nice, grand, right? Oh, Christopher Columbus had a big ship, right? He had the biggest of the three. What was it? La Pinta, La Santa Maria. Yeah. We learned them in Spanish. Yeah. So, he had the biggest ship, and his ship was so big that it can bring all of these slaves over to, you know, to the New World. And we're like, what?
See, the thing is, I didn't even, when I was in school, I knew about Christopher Columbus as the founder or founder of the free world, right?
Yeah.
But I had no idea, and it was never taught that there were slaves on those boats.
Oh,
they did. I remember they did with us, but it wasn't necessarily.
It was like, and there were slaves on the boat.
Yeah.
Not only that, but think about all the people that he took back to England. Or to Spain, wherever. I think Portugal was the one that sanctioned. No, he was Portuguese and he went to Spain.
The Queen of Spain,
right?
Yeah.
Isabella. So think about all the native Indians that he went back to England with as his property. Think about all the genocide that was committed on all of these islands. You know, they were subjugated and put through the worst atrocities in the name of claiming land, and because, you know, they saw them as inconsequential and people that they could easily subjugate.
Yeah. Did I mention what a family member said to me about Juneteenth?
No.
Oh boy.
So it's a national holiday now.
Yes, it is.
And
I'm mad that I don't have it off, but yeah.
Well, I have it off.
Working on it.
I get it off, and I had mentioned it to a family member, and they were like, "Oh, you get that off? You celebrate that now too?" And I'm like, I'm a pause you for a moment. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, look it up. Do some fucking research. It should be a national holiday.
It should be a national holiday before a lot of the other holidays that we have.
Yeah, 100%. And I said it again.
1,000%. Tally it up.
Oh, my God.
So.
Stop being so self-aware.
Well, self-awareness is good until you use it to bring yourself down. So just remember that.
Yeah. No, but it's, yeah. I mean, a lot.
I'm just saying, be nice to yourself. You're good, girl.
Juneteenth is still kind of new. All together.
Right.
You know, and not to talk nonsense, but, you know, there's still a lot of, you know, African Americans that they kind of know it, but don't know the whole history behind it because it's still kind of raw. Right. So a lot of people are still learning from it. And I think.
God, don't even mention Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the more, it's one of the younger, you know, belief systems and traditions and religion, if we want to call it that, or celebrations that has come up in the past, you know, I would say 3 decades, 30 years. And, you know, it wasn't always observed in schools. Kwanzaa is now a new thing, you know, that people, you know, get off from schools. It's been added to the calendar. So I don't know. People just have an issue with with groups of people being able to celebrate and honor who they were and who they are and who they're gonna be and their history and culture.
So, and if
Mind
you
your
look
business.
At it, if you look at it, Kwanzaa, right, is celebrated in that cusp between December into January.
Right.
If you're looking at the Puerto Rico, for example,
Three Kings Day
is like celebrating Three Kings Day.
Right.
Except in Puerto Rico, we celebrate from Thanksgiving through Three Kings Day.
A lot of companies in Puerto Rico will give you off from like the 21st of December to the 6th of January.
Yeah, well, the 7th. Yeah.
Like you don't work.
Yeah, a lot of places just close.
Because we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Three Kings Day, and God forbid you go to work during those times.
Do you know what we haven't mentioned yet?
Yes.
Today?
What?
Guess what happened 54 years ago today?
Happy birthday. No. What?
Who? It ain't me.
God.
What? 54?
54 years.
Stonewall riots.
Yeah.
Was it today?
Yep, it was today, 54 years
So
ago.
why isn't that on this day in gay history?
Because it was a lot to read. it was like a lot, and I was like, Jay will fucking kill me.
She'll have a moment.
But I think that is what we need to push for next, right? So I think Pride needs to be a national holiday, or
And
the Stonewall riots, or the
I think that it will be. Oh my God, companies are going to hate us. U.S. workers are going to have like 90 days off a year because everything's going to be a holiday.
Bitch, in Europe, they get like
2 months.
2 months off. They get like vacation for days.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get 3 weeks. I'm like, bitch, I'm burnt the fuck out.
Yeah.
I need a month.
Well, because you don't know how to shut it down, but that's a different conversation that you're not ready for.
Yeah, I won't shut it down.
Yeah. See? You see? You see?
But that's also.
But then she's also exhausted.
But here's the thing. That's also because of how we are.
We're indoctrinated into thinking that you have to work 24/7.
And then there are certain institutions, and people. Like I know
the 5-day work week was implemented by Ford.
Yeah, it's
Son of a bitch.
No. Fuck you, Ford. Fix or repair
It used to be 6.
No. That all started, and
I thought it was more, and then he reduced it, and then also reduced the work week to 40 hours.
He started it.
And then the whole overtime thing.
No, he started the full work week process when he started manufacturing vehicles, but that wasn't... In America, it wasn't like you need to work Monday to Friday.
Fuck her.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So funny.
Boy.
The 4-day work week comes to Vermont.
Yeah, a lot of companies are exploring that, but you're doing 40 days and 10
40
days,
hours, 10-hour days.
Yeah, 10-hour days.
Fine with that.
They're experimenting with that at our job for the past year.
Yeah, I've been asking for it forever. Give me 4 10-hour days.
I've had it. I used to do it when I used to work for People's Bank. It was fun.
I would do it. Oh my God. And I make sure that my 4 days, 4 days in the office, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Monday off. That would be my ideal situation. But that's not how it always works out. They always want to give you like 2 days in the middle of the week. Yeah. Like, no, you get Tuesday, Wednesday, but you got to work, everything else. I was like, screw that.
Yeah, it was so funny because, so you guys know about Summer Fridays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Summer Fridays?
Yeah.
I feel like you're about to explain, so.
No, so
please.
Some companies...
Well, my Summer Fridays are different, so let's see.
Some companies, especially in the arts, because most of our season is during the fall, is during the fall through literally until summer starts, you have Summer Fridays. So basically, you work constantly, like late nights, early mornings, because you're doing shows and all that stuff. So you get half days on Fridays.
Okay.
Right? And so a lot of people just take, instead of like a full PTO day, they'll take like a couple days, and then they'll have like 2 months where they don't have to work on a Friday. And that's just like 4 hours or whatever it is. And then I was working for a company that was like, oh no, we're doing half day Fridays. So I was like, oh, that's so great. I can't wait. That's exciting. And then come to find out, they were like, oh no, you have to work an extra 2 hours every day if you want to use it. I'm like, that's not a fucking half day Friday. That's not a Summer Friday. That's not a benefit.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm literally paying for it on the other end.
Yeah.
Literally. I was like, not doing that.
And I think that's driven by that whole mentality of, we must work 24/7.
Well, and
you must be connected. You must be available. Yeah. And it's not easy that we have laptops and cell phones now.
Well, it's shit like that makes work guilt a real thing. Like,
people aren't
fucking afraid to put in for PTO sometimes.
This is why I don't leave the union.
Yeah.
Right? This is why I don't leave the union.
Mm.
This is why I've been, management has been after me. Come on, please, you would be great in this role. This role was built for you. No thanks.
You know what I said to my coworker the other
work-life
day?
balance for me is too important.
My coworker showed up like an hour late the other day.
Must be nice.
And she said something to me about it. I was like, look, I get it. I don't care. Do you get your work done? She's like, always. I was like, I know. When you don't get your work done, I'll care.
And we have issues.
I'm like, you show up every day. You give 110%. You always get everything done. If you come in late one day because I don't know what happened at home or, the dog pooped on the floor, I don't give a shit because you get your fucking shit done.
Right.
I'm not going to dock your pay for an hour or make you put in for a PTO hour because you were late one day.
This is why we're not the bosses.
Well, I am a boss.
Well, you are. This is why I'm not the boss, because I give the store away.
I think if people adopted a mentality like that, like, it would be a much healthier workplace. That said, I know that there are individuals that you have to manage a little harder because, but I feel like if you create an environment in which people feel comfortable coming in late a little bit because they've got something going on at home, but they're always getting everything done on time when you need it,
Right.
And you don't penalize them for that.
What we got to do is do what Google did in their campus in California. They didn't care what time you showed up to work, how late, how long you stayed, as long as within that 24-hour period, you did your 8 hours. So you walked in for 2 hours and then you wanted to go to the gym for 3 hours, get the fuck out. Go to the gym, do what you got to do. And then when you come back, you finish your other 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you wanted to go shopping today to the mall. You want to go on a date with your boyfriend. Go, whatever. Do what you got to do. Come back and finish your 8 hours by the end of the 24-hour period.
Yeah.
They didn't care when you do it. You do it as long as you get your work done.
Oh my God, this conversation went from
Yeah, we've been all over the place, which means that we need to sort of kind of, woohoo, time to go home. Time to bring it down. Time to... Are we all in agreement?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to toss it over
Wait,
to
one
you.
more. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I will cut her. So anyway, you're up, so...
Oh, what? Fuck.
Mama
all right,
Kim's
everybody.
Minute.
Here's Mama Kim's Minute. Number 1, emblems of equality. Discover the world of LGBTQ plus flags. Number 2, what is it like to break into drag in the age of drag bans? Number 3, Supreme Court refuses to hear Christian college's lawsuit about transgender student housing.
Good job for the Supreme Court, because it's stupid. My God, these people are so stupid in this country. Anyway, Jay Bird, you're up.
And on this day in gay history, brought to you by GayTalk 2.0 and LGBTQ podcast. The date, June 28th, of course, 1982, where Colombia.
Yes, Queen.
Are we speaking Medellin, Colombia?
I don't know.
I believe so. 32 people attended a march and 100 police officers were sent. Each participant wore a pink triangle painted on their cheek with a prison cell number to memorialize.
You got this. You got
Cursive,
it.
sorry. Memorialize what happened to homosexuals in Nazi Germany. The march went along Carrera Séptima from Plaza de Toros to El Parque de las Nieves.
He blames it on, what was it that you just blamed it on? Cursive?
Yeah, it's...
She only had one cocktail.
It
All right.
was straight up booze.
All right.
there was no mixer in that one.
Mm-mm.
And moving on to our announcements. And as always, if you love the show, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. By subscribing, you get to listen to the greatest and latest of our show delivered right to your favorite device or web browser as soon as the episode is published. You can also support us on Patreon. With Patreon, you, the listeners, can help support the show with a pledge donations. The donations are collected monthly and can be in any denomination of $1 or more.
Still waiting on my paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Nasty.
Next week, we will. Well, who are we welcoming next week? No one, right?
No, we're not.
No.
I just didn't fix that correctly.
I'm sorry. So,
Next
on
week,
to you, Nick.
next week, we are taking the day off to recover from the holiday. So everybody, happy 4th of July. We hope you have a happy and safe, fun holiday. All that to be said, we will be coming back to you following the 4th on June 10th as we're switching back to Mondays. And that will be through the summer and maybe further. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So we'll do Mondays, like Nick said, during the summer, and then in the fall, if we need to pivot and adjust, we'll do that. But as always, we're thankful to our listeners for sticking with us and all of our craziness and jumping around the calendar and the time spectrum. But you guys are wonderful, and we truly love you. So thank you for that. Is it my turn?
No, it's my turn.
Go for it.
I can't.
Give us.
Thank you. All right, everybody, get the Future Method and all other products today. All products are doctor developed. Now you can clean out without hurting your bum. Take confidence anywhere with the anal powder packs and increase your stretch goals with 3-piece anal glass dilation kit. Tom, take me off the camera. Visit futuremethod.com to purchase your life-changing bum accessories today.
All right.
You see him on the little corner?
Yeah. Next to a big glass fucking thing.
And as always, it is time to put a ring on it.
All the single ladies.
All the single ladies.
Put your hands up.
Our show is available on our website, GayTalk2.0 under audio podcast. It is also available as a free download on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher Radio.
All right. You can find us on social media, Facebook, GayTalk 2.0, Instagram, GayTalk 2.0. Email us at GayTalk2.0 at GayTalk20.com. Tom?
I will try. All right, ladies and gents, if you need to reach out to us, just head on over to our website, click on the Contact Us tab. There you can leave comments, suggest topics, submit a question for the cast, or an individual host. You can also call us and leave us your questions via voice message. Our phone number is 334-GAY-TALK, and if you need all those digits, it is 334-429-8255. Don't forget that we do stream live. I slayed that shit.
Oh, yeah, I zoned out.
Yeah, I know. Nasty. Don't forget that we do stream live currently on Wednesdays. Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can access the live stream on gaytalk20.com/live stream. Or starting, not this week, the following week, we'll switch over to Mondays. We'll send out a communication on our socials and on the interwebs. And once again, I want to thank you all for joining us. And listen, y'all, have a wonderful rest of your Pride Month. Bye!
Thank you for listening to this episode of Gay Talk 2.0. Tune in next time for more dish.